What's up, everybody? Can you hear me okay? I'm doing some Anhydrous, so you have to give me a second. I'll get you situated where you can see what's going on behind me rather than looking at me the whole time. In a minute. It is 7:30 at night. We're side dressing corn. I give a lesson on side dressing corn and anhydrous and what we're doing in tomorrow's YouTube video that you guys can check out in the morning. But having a good day. We're just getting into a field here. I got 75 acres here to do. We've got 6 of it done, so got a little ways to go here tonight. 2, 3, 4. Should have plenty of anhydrous to finish this one. I've got 3 tanks full sitting in the field that Brock got around for me today. I believe I'm on tank number 7 of the day. So we're pushing 200 acres already today, which is good. Especially considering that it didn't start till probably 9:30. And I quit for an hour and a half to go watch my kid's baseball game here a little bit ago. So we're just getting back to it. There we go. Got more ends to do on this other end of the field here, but we'll get to it. All right. You guys want to watch the anhydrous bar, I assume, and not me. So let me move you to my back window. Flip the camera. Try and situate this so you can't see the phone mount too much. It's not too bad. What are the chances I can get zoomed out? Alright, that'll work. Except for it gets the phone mount again, but where are we at? Let's go chats. No. All messages. Live chat. Okay. Hello. What did you break? Well, that's not very nice, Michael. What do you mean, what did I break? I didn't break anything. Why are my rows not straight here? Watch that. I haven't broke anything today. Broke some stuff yesterday, but today everything's running really, really well. Guessing kids' baseball game went long. It didn't really go long. It started at 5:30 and I was back here by 7. Or, well, even before 7, but I had to move fields and we were doing Anhydrous and whatever, so now we're here. Actually, it was a pretty quick game. The games have gotten quicker as the defense has gotten better. Look at that nice mowed roadside. We got a neighbor who lives around the corner from here, over a half a mile from here, and he mows all our roadsides for us. Does a fantastic job. Uh-oh. Where'd you go? Seriously, where'd you go? Found you. I just have to get you. Now you're upside down. There, that's better. Sorry, I got you too low. You hit the seat when I turned, and then you fell down behind the seat and magnetized to the seat. I couldn't get it off. All right, Hello. Any thoughts on LSWs instead of tracks? All right, we're gonna talk about that one. Can you hear me all right when I don't look at the phone? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. LSW. So I've never run LSW, so I don't have a great opinion on that. Here's what I can tell you. One of the major benefits of running tracks is that all our compaction is in a narrow footprint, right? We go length instead of width. And that keeps all of my tractor weight footprint between two 30-inch rows. I could even run 24-inch tracks on a planting tractor and stay between the rows. Now, I don't think I can run 24-inch tracks in a side dress situation like we're doing now and not run over excessive amounts of corn. So that's why we don't have 24s. But I think that LSWs are better than duals from a compaction standpoint. Again, I can't side dress corn with LSWs, so that doesn't help me a whole lot. So I can't go to LSWs and do what I'm doing now. I have to either go duals or tracks, 18-inch tracks. But are LSWs better than duals tires from a compaction standpoint? Yeah, probably. They probably are. I hear they ride pretty nice. I don't know that. I think my tracks ride really nice, at least in the field. Like, they may be a little rough on the road sometimes, but in the field, like, these are really nice. So I don't know. That ride argument is a moot point to me. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. LSWs are cheaper than tracks, more expensive than regular tires. So, you know, they're somewhere in the middle on a cost side of benefit. But yeah, they definitely have an advantage. It's just the frustrating ability inability to side dress and do what I want with them. So that's why I can't just go to them. We could run them on our bean planting tractor, and I would consider it if tracks were not something we want to continue to do. Rock, slow down. Good. I have a very wide guess row here, and it's making me run over corn. I don't like it. Why is that such a wide guess row? I can't read while I'm hand driving, sorry. Are you in the field with a 360? No, I just finished that one, actually. We did that one this morning. Well, mostly this afternoon. Yep, just finished that one up. Brock hauled tanks for me all day. He also got our 360 rain ready to go, so that is all done and ready to be started up probably later this week. That's my thoughts. 1, 2, 3, 4 this time. Right there. Go. Alright, I'm going to take you down and hold you while I do these so that I can see it. How's the corn? So the corn's starting to look a lot better. I've really thought our corn has been sort of yellow and just not growing real great for the last week, but you got to remember it's been 50 to 55 degrees, cloudy, rainy. Like, we have not had very good conditions for growing corn, and so the fact that it's yellow and just doesn't look great, yeah, that's pretty much expected. I think today this corn greened up a lot. I really think our root system is starting to get into the 2x2x2 starter bands. It's finding some of that nitrogen, and it's going to start taking off here a little bit. It's really growing. It looks good. Like, I am really, really happy with all the corn that I have been across with the Anhydrous bar so far. I was concerned that there was going to be some thin spots where some water stood from the big rain that we had right after planting. There was 2 small spots up on the irrigated field. Other than that, everything has had a really good stand. The corn looks awesome. So I'm pretty excited about that. Did you get supper? I stopped at the concession stand at the ball game and got a couple hot dogs. So yes, I did. Get a collection together, have something ordered and delivered. Good luck getting something delivered here, bud. Don't run into the ditch. All right. Flip this back around. Come on. You applied some N with the planter. I did, yes. Can you speak to why you side dressing the corn is so small? Seems like I see people in our area applying when the corn is taller. Yeah. So I talk about this in tomorrow's video quite a bit, but I'll give you a brief analysis of why right now. A couple of reasons. One, we have mostly clay soils. I can hold the nitrogen until later in the growing season when the corn needs it and keep it there without too much risk of losing it. Like, that's not a major concern for me, so I'm willing to put it on early because I can. 2, if I waited until all the corn was, say, 12 to 18 inches tall, and then all of a sudden we got a rain or 2 or 3 and we were out for 2 weeks like we were the first 2 weeks of May, I'm screwed. That corn's going to be way too tall before I can get over it. So it's a timing issue, or time that it takes to apply stuff issue. And then 3, any corn that I run over right now, which I am running over corn, right? The growing point is still below ground. And so anything that I run over is going to survive. It might not like it. It might not be the best corn we've ever seen, but it will grow through it and it will put on an ear. And that is important. That means that, you know, we're not taking out as many plants. And so I like to start when the corn is quite a bit smaller. Now, when we get to the end of side dressing, we're probably looking at some V6 to 8 corn, and it will be taller enough to the point that whatever we run over probably won't make it. But again, it comes down to timing, and I can't get it all done if I wait until it's all big. Back to this view. Would it be practical to have 9RX transported to Berkey to save wear and tear on the tracks? All right, let's talk about this, because you guys ask me about this a lot. So, 8RX, you mean 8RX. It takes me, as I've been doing it, it takes me a little under 2 hours to drive this tractor back and forth. It's 35 miles, and I get the wear component. I get it. I hate it. But if I cannot expect a tractor to reasonably drive 30, 35 miles down the road, like, I don't know that I can own it. Now, on top of that, if I was to put this tractor on a trailer and haul it to Berkey, how do I get my planter there? How do I get my Anhydrous bar there? How do I get my nurse tank there? How do I get my grain cart there? Like, the grain cart, okay, yeah, we could probably load that up on a trailer if we had a right drop deck trailer and get it down there. But now we're making 2 trips, right, with a semi. The planter won't go on a trailer. Not easily, not the way it sits, not without a lot of disassembly or whatever. Anhydrous bar, we put this on a trailer one time. It was a crap ton of work. And again, a lot of disassembly, reassembly stuff. So not easy to do. I think we're just going to start over here. Yeah, it's a logistical nightmare to try and haul this stuff back and forth. I would be far better off to drive 10 miles an hour and stop every 10 miles for a half an hour and let everything cool down. Then it would take me 4 hours to get there, and it would still be faster than hauling it. I just can't do that. Oh, where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, no, it's not practical, and I understand why everybody thinks that, or a lot of comments have suggested that, but that's a non-starter for me. It's not going to work. I wish there was gravel roads between here and there, but realistically, there's 2 routes that I can take. One of them is more main roads, not really main roads, but they're not back roads. And the other one is back roads that you got to wiggle around a little bit because it's not a straight shot. I've taken both with the tractor. Doesn't really make a whole lot of difference to me. The back roads, there's less traffic, and there's generally wider berms for me to get off the road if there is traffic. The main route is narrower, but it's a straight shot, and there's more traffic on it. If I'm not wide, meaning I'm pulling something as wide as the tractor or narrower, I usually will take the main road. And if I'm wide, taking like the 9R, the Combine, or something like that, I take the back roads. I don't know. I think we're just going to have to slow down. I think instead of 20 mile an hour, we're going to go 15. And I think we're going to have to stop every 5, 6, 10 miles instead of once in the middle to tout the tracks up and just take our time a little bit more. Epic fall of the camera. Yeah, that one was. Sorry, guys. Yeah, sounds fine. Good. Guaranteed smoother than a 2-track. The LSWs or the quad. I've always heard that 2-tracks ride really nice in the field because they're so long, they just bridge the gap over any little gullies or bumps or anything, and they just sit on top. I don't know. I've never driven one, so I can't speak to it. I know John Deere's got suspension on their newer ones. I would think they're not that bad, but what do I know? Used to have a few tractors around, used, but have all been replaced with tire tractors. Yeah, I'm sure that people have gone that way. I have to decide how much the tracks are helping us. Is that $40,000 a year yield increase? Is that accurate? Is it legit? Because if it is, I can't afford not to have the tracks. But if that's an idealistic number and we're realistically claiming half or a quarter of that, and we're seeing $10,000 to $20,000 a year increase in income from running tracks and having less compaction, then you got to look at that maintenance cost and decide whether it's worth it or not. These RXs tend to hold their value very, very well. Like I would guess that we could get just about every penny out of this tractor that we paid for it brand new, because prices have increased so much, and it really has cost. I haven't had any issues with it. We haven't really had to do anything that makes it undesirable to this point. Oh, I don't know about this. Alright, we're going to take out some corn in this one because we got uneven passes. Shoot, I don't like that either. Oh well. I'm leaving a gap over there. But I'm on my pass that's even with the other side of the field, so we're going to have a guest row anyway. But then I'm taking out a bunch of corn. Yeah, it's not pretty. It'll be fine. We'll be adding chicken litter to more fields in the future. Yes. In fact, I talked to the chicken litter guy a couple weeks ago. Kind of told him we had a list of fields ready, and we're ready to start lining that up anytime, really. My rows don't seem to be following here. And our tank's about empty. All right. Yeah, we really like the chicken litter. In fact, this is a field that we put chicken litter on last fall, and I have cut my nitrogen rates by about 10% here on this field because of that. Because we're getting some carryover organic nitrogen. Any plans to expand the seed warehouse? Nope, there's not. I had thought about it briefly there because of how much seed I was moving and stuff, but that situation has changed. I do not have a very secure long-term future in that, and definitely not something I'm willing to spend $250,000 to expand the seed warehouse and invest when I don't have a long-term contract in place. So no, we will not be expanding the seed warehouse. At least not anytime soon. Chance of getting a time-lapse camera set up for the bin project at Berkey? Probably not, and I say that because I'm not going to be there for it. The crew that's putting it together is putting it together, and like they're probably down there working on it today, and I'm side dressing corn, so I can't go and set up a time-lapse camera every day. I would love to have done that. I've tried to do that in the past, but yeah, probably not going to happen. Also, I don't have a great time-lapse camera. I have a really old one that was like just terrible quality. But the one that I don't have a great way to do that. I need to find a good, just straight time-lapse camera. That has a long enough battery to go for like a growing season. Track plus B. We gotta record a new guidance line because for some reason my main line does not match my corn rows. I wonder if I used an auto path line out here or something and it's just off. Just saw you last year from Richmond, Indiana. Hi, Larry. Is Phil planting first planted beans? Has Phil finished planting the first planted beans? Yes, finished beans this morning or this afternoon, whenever he did. Got the last 65, 70 acres or so in the ground today. Now, I say that if things continue to dry up, a week from now or something, we may go in and patch in some of the spots that we had to plant around. We probably have 10 or 15 acres of wet holes that we could not plant because they were too wet this last couple of days here today and yesterday and then last weekend. So if the opportunity presents itself, we'll fix that. But yeah, beans are in the ground, corn's in the ground. We are done planting. Hi, Alex. Can you talk on the on-site monitoring system you had on the planter this year? Pros and cons, would you recommend? Yeah. So I added that on-site for my 2x2 monitoring, and I really, really liked it. It was awesome. Worked super well. You know, I was able to pick up some little things that I couldn't have before. Things like having a plugged nozzle on one of my conceals, right? So the way that system is set up, I have so there's kind of one nozzle or one orifice that feeds 2 rows of the planter, and then each row is split into each side of the row. So there's 4 nozzles per 2 rows per 1 nozzle body. So what that means is that if one nozzle gets plugged out of the 4, there's going to be less flow to that row than there will be to the other row on that same orifice. Make sense? It makes sense. I was able to see when that would happen and go out and fix it because they wouldn't be even. I would have never, ever, ever caught that before. Never in a million years would I have been able to catch it, other than going out and checking them. So having that information was really nice. All right, hang on a second. It did get a little bit annoying beeping on me too much when it would alert to stuff, when a section would set off or something. So I ended up turning the sound off, turning the volume all the way down on it, and that works much better. Just there, I can watch it. It doesn't control anything, it doesn't monitor it, or it doesn't, make any changes to anything. It's just there to tell me whether or not it's working. The display was nice, easy to operate. I really like that on-site system. I liked it so much that I am considering adding it to my in-furrow just because. My in-furrow is controlled by the Deere exact rate system, and it basically tells me whether each row is on or off, and it will give me a flow detection error if there's a problem with a row, but it does not give me any more data than that. It doesn't tell me, is it plugged, is it just low, is it, what's the difference between the rows, where that on-site does all that. So I really liked it, and I might add a second product to it next year for the in-furrow. Is John Deere going to help on the track cost? I don't know yet. The service manager at the dealer is working on warranty stuff. They're trying to decide whether it's a track warranty from the track manufacturer, if it's a tractor warranty because the tractor's still covered, or what exactly there. It sounds like we're going to get some help. I don't know how much, and it might be a while before we find that out. So it is what it is. I'd be a little shocked if they cover the whole thing, but that would be pretty nice of them, and I would very much appreciate it. If we have to cover a little bit of the cost, well, so be it. If I have to cover the whole thing, I'm going to be pretty upset. Or frustrated is probably the word. Why not come up with a 50-gallon cooling system with low-flow nozzles put on one trip? Yeah, I've thought about that, or something like that. I don't know that water or liquid is the right thing to do. I think the liquid on it, while it should help it cool, it might not be the best thing on the tracks. I don't know. I would have to talk to somebody about that a little bit more. What I'm more interested in trying to figure out how to do is seeing if I couldn't rig up a talc applicator that I had like a remote switch from the cab where I could trigger it or so often, or it was on a timer that every 10 minutes it applied some talc into those tracks and kept everything lubricated a little bit better. That would be a pretty cool system if you ask me. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to do that. It's something I'd have to figure out. Had a neighbor that had a cat 2-track. He said it would beat you to death. Well, that could be. The older ones, I think that the 2-tracks from the 90s, early 2000s were pretty rough. I think they've gotten a lot better with time here. Baking Baker channel is really fun. Thank you. Hey, cool. Thank you. Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out our second channel, my mom and I have started a cooking channel. I don't know that we have anything for this week. We'll see if we can get something recorded tomorrow. But yeah, we're having fun with it. So go check that out if you would. I need view time. I need watch time over there. I'm halfway to monetizing it. Do Amish side dress? How do they add nitrogen? Good question. I'm sure that they are applying some sort of nitrogen. If I had to guess, it would be either a liquid or a dry form in urea. But I don't know for sure. I mean, they're spreading a lot of manure too, so they're getting that source. Amish are, you know, they don't use tractors and technology, but they will for sure buy chemicals and fertilizer and inputs, at least around here. We're filling in that gap that I had, so I'm still hand driving. After this pass, I should be able to auto steer everything and I can pay attention better. Or my tank runs empty on the way. Dang it. Alright. We'll go change tanks and then we'll try that a little bit again. We almost made it down, so there's not that much left. Alright. We're going to use autopath in the sprayer. We're not going to use autopath in the sprayer. I wanted to. I wish we could. I put that G5 monitor in there, which is technically capable of running autopath. However, in order to use the autopath, you have to pay for the advanced subscription or license for it. And it's an extra like $2,500 a year. And the sprayer spraying V5 corn is the only thing that I would use it for. And so for that one pass, I'm not paying the $2,500 just to have it for one pass over the corn. Like, Dad could have used it spraying the corn post, but he wouldn't. And so, no, we're not going to use autopath on the sprayer. 2 tracks ride great in the field, bad on the road. Adding the air ride kit to the cab help. Yep, that's what I've heard. How's the new battery charger for the lift working? Are they lasting longer between charges? Yeah, much better. In fact, I've only had to charge the one battery I think twice on it, so I'm trying to, I gotta order a new connector. That gray, it came with a gray Anderson connector, which all of my other stuff is blue, and the one forklift, it fits together okay. The other one, it didn't fit at all, or it was really tough. So I had to, I stole the old one off the old charger, because you can just swap those ends out, but I need to order a new one to put on there. Would trading the 8R on an 8RX with 24-inch tracks be better for the corn planter? Absolutely, it would be better. 24-inch tracks and trump 18-inch tracks, no doubts. But it's still tracks. And by the way, it would cost $400,000 to do that. So there's that. Alright, you guys are going to get to watch a tank change. I think I'm going to leave you watch from right there because you'll be able to see everything. So you won't hear me, but you'll be able to see me. Put my PPE on and head out there. Yeah, you can see. Don't leave me. I will be back, I promise. never mind the pipe wrench there. This is the first time I've used this tank. It's practically brand new. It might be new because somebody put the coupler into the valve there, the part that I screw my hose onto, and they must have used like a, I don't know if they used an impact with some kind of a star socket that fits around the outside of it or something, but they marred up the threads, and I could not get that adapter to thread on there. When I hooked up to it, I had to use a pipe wrench to get it on, and so I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna have to use that to get it off. I got it, fortunately. This tank will be much better, I'm sure. The blue running gear tanks, our new Anhydrous supplier, this is the second year we've used them. They bought these tanks, I think they bought them new last year when they knew they were gonna get a bunch more business, and they pretty much reserve them for me. Like, they don't have to do that, but they're super nice, and I'm not gonna complain. Okay, I'm back. Lock it in. Let's go. Refill the tank. All right. All right, Keegan. We're off the roads. It would be interesting to see a video on the process you had to get set up to get your drone spraying certifications. Might be a good rain day to do. Yeah, I'll talk about that sometime, you know, when I have them. We'll go through that stuff. I'm wondering, I haven't done this yet, but I was gonna call the guy I bought it from, Jared there at Finn & Co. and see if there'd be a day I could go over there, because I have my 107 license. I could fly under his Part 137 exemptions and all that stuff. Not for my own stuff, but like he could hire me as a pilot basically, and I'm wondering if I couldn't go over to him, fly one of his drones for a day, have him teach us how to run it so that you guys can, so I can learn all that and you guys can help me out, or can tag along and see all that. Have you considered applying urea with your spreader, or for convenience, then for cost, less tank changes, maybe less starter? So we could do that. However, I really don't want to use urea for my nitrogen fertilizer because urea lays on the soil surface. You had better get a rain to wash it in. It's going to burn the corn a little bit, especially as the corn gets bigger. Not my preference in ways to apply nitrogen. I had thought about trying to do some pre-plant, spread some urea, do like 100 pounds of nitrogen to the acre, urea spread ahead of the field cultivator and working it in, because I think that would be fine. But that just become a logistic and a timing issue where I can't get it done. There's just no way for me to do that when I'm trying to plant and field cultivate and do everything else. So it's been talked about, but not probably going to happen. Hey from Indiana, hi. I'm way behind, sorry guys. What month can we expect you to use the drone for the first time? Have all your permits now? Nope, so I'm still waiting on all my exemptions. Honestly, as soon as I get it, I'll probably start using it because I want to make sure I know what I'm doing when it comes time to actually start using it for corn fungicide. But hopefully we have it in time for corn fungicide. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with it right now is, are we even going to be able to use this in July when I need it? Better get a permit real fast if we intend to do that, right? It's kind of where I'm at with it. All right, now we gotta go back over to that edge and finish part of that up. Where was I at? Leaks are still going. Yeah, we fixed our leaks. Haven't had any issues with that. Steven, come up with a spray mix for the pumpkins to keep the weeds out. No, I haven't. Our pumpkins haven't done so good. We had replant pumpkins this weekend. So those first ones that we had planted, I don't know if I showed much of that or not, but the first ones that we planted, that my wife had started inside, they got really stringy, leggy, what's the word I'm looking for here? They were not real healthy plants. They didn't have enough sunlight, and they stretched out too much. And I think when we put them outside, then the wind kind of blew them around and broke some of the stems off, and we had a lot of loss there. Hopefully we keep a few that were still alive, but we went through and replanted some of those. And then the second set that we planted across the road, they were better, but I don't know if the cold weather last week, we were really close to getting some frost in there. I don't know, but we lost a bunch of those too and had to replant. So pumpkin crop's not looking great. But we had seeds, we got more seeds coming. They'll be fine. We'll get them fixed. We'll get them coming. But as far as herbicide goes, no. I think I'll just use some Roundup or something in between them until they vine out and hopefully keep stuff down enough that it's not terrible. My oldest, Rylan, has been learning to drive my old lawnmower with the lawn sweeper attached to it. So we now have an abundance of grass clippings, and I'm making them spread them between the pumpkins to use as mulch. So that should help keep some weeds out of it too. It's the brand of your ammonia bar. It is a John Deere. This is a 2510H from John Deere. It's a high speed. Uses a disc blade and a boot, very much like a drill opener instead of a shank. And it works really well. All right, now we can get back to wide open stuff and just go it. Any update on the spray drone? Would be nice to spray wheat fungicide. Yeah, it would have been nice to spray wheat fungicide, but we're pretty well done with that now. Did that over the weekend, so not going to use it for that. Never thought about applying anhydrous before planting or even doing it in the fall. All right. Again, this is something that I addressed in tomorrow's YouTube video. You can watch that for a detailed explanation. However, we used to do some pre-plant anhydrous in the spring. We've kind of gotten away from that over the last 5 to 10 years here. I like applying it as close to when the plant needs it as possible within reason, and I don't have time pre-plant to do it. When we would do pre-plant anhydrous, it would be either apply anhydrous pre-plant or plant soybeans. And the more we learn about early planting beans and finding out how critical it is that we get our beans planted as early as possible, the less time that I have to sacrifice that tractor and driver that would be planting beans to side dress corn, or pre-plant anhydrous for corn. So part of buying this bar, this high-speed bar, was so that we could side dress everything and get over it faster. That was kind of when I came back to the farm full-time, one of the first things that we did, where all of a sudden we had the manpower and the time that we could get over at side dress and not have to worry about doing a pre-plant. So I feel it's more important to plant beans, and we don't have the labor and the horsepower to do both. And as far as fall goes, nobody around here puts anhydrous on in the fall. We will lose it all. We are too wet and too warm of a climate for that. It is not good practice to do fall anhydrous here. Do you think the shoulder of the road is what caused the track to explode? Well, I don't drive on the half on the pavement, half off, right? I'm either all the way on the road or I'm all the way in the gravel, because that's how you destroy tracks, is driving it half on, half off. So I don't know that the shoulder of the road necessarily is what did it. Definitely being on the road is what did it. But it is entirely possible that there was an actual defect in that track that caused that to happen. It looks to me like there are broken cables, and I don't know if those cables were broken and caused it to heat up and balloon and to delaminate like it did, or if it got hot and then the cable somehow broke after the fact. My guess is more so that it was that a cable or two was broken and it was a defective track. That's really kind of where I lean, but I'm not a track forensic scientist, or examiner. But the cable should not have broken after the fact, in my opinion. Slurry, yeah. The manure guys do, or the 360 Rain guys do a lot of stuff with manure. That's kind of their bread and butter application. They do have some out for just pure irrigation like I'm doing, but I don't think it's near as common as the manure guys. Tracks you might when doing stuff like this. Yeah, 24-inch tracks is too wide for side dressing. When we were looking at these tractors, I was strongly considering 24-inch tracks. You can actually do 24s on the rear and 18s on the front, which I thought we could do that. But after having 18s, I'm glad I don't have 24s, because that's another 6 inches, and it'd be awfully tight. Hi Bert, things are going well. Nice night for it, certainly is. It's a great night for putting anhydrous on. We're calling for rain later tonight and into tomorrow. I don't know if we're actually going to get any or not, but If we do, that's okay. Just get home, finally come to live stream. Hi, Al. How do you determine your total N rates for individual fields? Do you set yield goals for individual fields according to historical yields, or just shoot for a rough average across your acres? So everything is broken down by yield zone. Basically, when I'm going through and making up my prescription maps for the year, whether that's seeding, starter, or nitrogen, I am looking at the past 3 years of corn data on each field, and I am then breaking that down into 3 zones, basically sub 180, 180 to 220, and 220 plus. And I adjust my seeding rates, my starter rates, my nitrogen rates, all from there. So in this particular field, we have a lot of the middle rate, a lot of the 180 to 220, like that covers the vast majority of our acres. And so I want to put enough fertility on to try and push it towards the top end of that rate, right? Like I'm going to fertilize most of that for 215 to 220 corn and go from there. So that's the seeding rates that I target and shoot for, and that's the nitrogen rates that we're going for. So I put on about 30 pounds with the planter, 32 I think it was in that zone, and turning, sorry. And for Anhydrous here, we're putting 180 pounds on. Well, I say that. Our target is 180. So that 180 plus 30 something puts us up at 210 to 215. However, in this particular field, because I put chicken litter on here last year, we're dropping our side dress rates by 10%, which means most of it's getting a 162 pounds of nitrogen right now. That's what we're putting on. Coupled with the stuff on the planter puts us at about 195. I don't think I've ever seen you not wear a gas mask. I've seen you not wearing your gas mask. I'm worried about it. Didn't I wear it? I wore it when I changed tanks. Will you consider updating the 60-foot bar to side dress? And if you do, will it go to 28 if you did? Well, Deere does make a 60-foot or a 23-row 2510H applicator. I could not pull it with this tractor. We'd have to go to a bigger tractor to pull it. Pretty unlikely that we would do that. We've talked a little bit about going to 28, and if we did go to 28, I would get a 26 or either a 23 or a 25 row 28 applicator. I think that would be awesome, but I don't know if that will happen anytime soon. We thought when we lost our Anhydrous supplier 2 years ago that was going to be the catalyst, but our new supplier has been probably better than the old one. They do a fantastic job, and so I have no reason to switch away from using Anhydrous. It's a cheaper source of N, it's easier for me to handle, and it is efficient, and I can cover a lot of ground with it. So pretty unlikely that we would go to 28 and go to a 60-foot bar, at least in the near future, but yeah, I would consider it. Any tile projects this year? Yeah, we've got a couple of projects in mind. Stuff we're going to do after the wheat comes off. We got a few fields actually that we might do. So, well, from North Carolina, trying to grow sweet corn in my garden, but it's looking kind of yellow. Do I need to add some fertilizer to it? Again, it's in sandy soil. First time putting a garden there. Yes, you do. You need nitrogen. You probably need some sulfur too, but you definitely need nitrogen. Easiest thing to do would be to go find some some urea, or some AMS, ammonium sulfate, or a blend of both. That would make it grow well. Yeah, if it's yellow, you definitely need nitrogen. Sand does not hold it, so you probably need to apply it at least 2, maybe 3 times throughout the year. And don't put it right on the corn, put it in the middle of the rows or beside the rows. And, you know, figure out your rates. You don't want it too heavy. I don't know what the proper rate for nitrogen on sweet corn is. I just do it when I do the field corn, but that's probably way more than it needs. Tracks though, what about tracks? We've talked about tracks. How many tanks do you use on an average year? I have no idea. This is tank number 8 on the day, if that tells you anything. But I've also covered over 200 acres already today. Each tank does roughly 30 acres, depends on my rate, but 27 to 32 acres, I think, is the kind of the range. Things get all done except for the river bottom ground. Yeah, planting is pretty well done except for a few wet spots we had to go around in the beans. Is there such a thing as an over application of nitrogen when buried the way you are? Well, yeah, you can put more than you need on for sure. Generally, excess nitrogen doesn't hurt anything other than your pocketbook, but you certainly can put too much on. And more than you need. See you next time. Can beans be planted so close to each other that they are touching? Is there a maximum planting rate for beans? They can be planted that way. I don't know if you want to. Traditionally, guys used to plant beans much heavier than we do now. All right, so see that row? That row? It's gassing off a little bit more than the others, and then you get a little bit in this row that you can't see very good. Those are the rows where my tank tracks were and the tractor tracks when we planted. So that ground's a little bit harder, it's a little more compacted. It's not able to permeate through the soil as well and bind to the moisture, so it kind of gasses off a little bit. Now what you're seeing there is very minimal. It's not really a ton of loss, so I'm not worried about it, but that's why it is more noticeable right there. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, beans. Yeah, traditionally, people used to plant beans way, way, way thicker than they do now. Like, I'm talking 200, 250, 280, maybe even 300,000 beans per acre. And that's just crazy amount to me. So, you know, it's been done. People do it. The thing is that beans will compensate for reduced competition or more competition. Right? The more beans you have out there, the fewer branches and nodes you're going to have on each bean, but you'll have more plants. If you plant them thinner, the beans will grow bigger, they will branch more, they'll put more nodes on, and you'll get more pods on each individual plant. So there's no reason to plant them that thick, unless it starts getting late in the growing season. Wouldn't putting grass between the rows cause the grass to regrow? What? Wouldn't putting grass between the rows cause the grass to regrow? I'm not sure what you're asking there, Keegan. What about neutral max from under Firth and use 28 or 32? Yeah, that would be the option if we went liquid. Either that or a J&M bar. Both of them make excellent applicators. They're both ridiculously expensive for what they are, but would be nice. I'm not arguing that. We're sort of stuck on Anhydrous here. How's it going? That's a sweet tractor. And that sweet tractor. Yes, we are. All is good. Thanks, Kirk. Was about to type. Oh. I know what the grass you're talking about now. Wouldn't putting grass between the rows cause the grass to regrow? You mean for my pumpkin mulch stuff? No, not at all. It's grass clippings. It's the stuff after you mow. That doesn't grow. It just dries up and it acts like a mulch or a straw. It keeps the weeds down. It won't grow. Perfect job for the boulders. Add in cardboard and other material with the grass clippings. Yeah, we can do that. Are you an expert at putting on tracks now? Expert, no, but I know how to do it, and I can do it faster the second time. I'm sure of that. Still a good time to get a Border View Farm sweatshirt. Yes, it is. I'm still in sweatshirt season. There was about 2 hours today when it was too warm and I should have taken it off, but I was in the air-conditioned cab, so. Break into the fridge here. Does that application go centered between the rows? Yes, that is the idea. We're centering this between the rows, not on the rows, so we don't destroy our corn. How many acres can you cover in a day? Well, I suppose if I had a really good day and I had somebody hauling tanks, I could do 300 acres. I should get to 250 today, but I did not start until probably 9:30, and I quit for an hour and a half for my kid's baseball game. So, yeah, I'm up to 30 acres in this field, plus I did 5 in the first one this morning to finish the field from yesterday. Plus we did 175 in the other field today, so is that 210 so far? How would the math work just putting on all your N through the conceal system? Oh, terribly. Absolutely horribly. Let's see. Let's do some math. Hold on a second. I gotta... Oh. We gotta dance around this pole. Alright. I'm gonna move you guys so I can look at you. Jeremy. Oh, there we are. Sorry. Thanks, honey. I hope that was just since I moved it. All right, so I'm going to go over that math all again since you're probably not lip readers and you didn't hear it. So, if I was to put all of my nitrogen on through the conceals on our planter, could we do that? Well, I figured out that if we put 210 pounds of nitrogen on, there's 3 pounds of nitrogen per gallon of 28. So, that means we would need 70 gallons of 28 per acre through our conceals. I don't know if we can physically move that much product, And two, if I put that much 28 that close to the seed, it would probably burn the crap out of our corn, okay? Like, seriously burn it. But let's just say that that wasn't the case and we were going to do it. We would also need to add in the other stuff that we're putting in our starter, which is another 5 gallons of ATS, which we'd probably put more on if we were putting that much nitrogen on. We would need our 3 gallons of 1034O for the phosphorus, and we would need our gallon of Ultramate. That gets us to 79. We're going to round that up to 80 gallons per acre. So if I needed to put on 80 gallons to the acre of 2x2, and I know that on my planter I can carry 1,900 gallons total, 300 gallons on the planter plus the 1,600 gallon pull behind tank. We really can't get that much on, but we'll go with it. If you divide that by 80, that means on a completely full trip with the planter, I could plant a whopping 23 3/4 acres before I had to fill up again. That would make planting go excruciatingly slow and be incredibly difficult to do. So yeah, that's not going to work. We're not doing that. Are you figuring any N from your organic matter percent, or just consider that bonus N so you're not shorting yourself on it? Yeah, I don't really figure that into my 1 pound to N per bushel factor. Now I'm a little bit lower than the 1-to-1 ratio. Like, I generally am about 0.95 pounds of N per bushel, usually. It depends on how you work it out at the end of the year and how much credit you get for the chicken litter and all that kind of stuff. But usually I do pretty good. So, you know, that organic matter nitrogen certainly figures in. We don't have a ton of organic matter. Like, we're in the 2 to 3% range. So you could figure maybe 20 to 30 pounds, but call it bonus nitrogen. When I see my corn start firing in August on fields that I put a lot of nitrogen on, it makes me think I need more nitrogen. Now, that's usually my irrigated field where I put 250 pounds on. I'm like, oh crap, that's not good. But, you know, we're trying to raise 300 bushel corn, so you got to have more nitrogen. That's also part of the reason why I started using that source from Sound Ag, and they want me to cut 20 to 30 pounds of nitrogen out for that product. I don't know if I'm willing to do that, but we're going to try a little bit of it this year. I've seen you wear a mask, and I don't think you would be that dumb not to. I almost always wear the mask. The gloves I wear every time I unhook the tank and hook the tanks up. The mask I always wear when I'm unhooking a tank. Sometimes when I'm hooking a new one up, I don't. It happens. How many tons of the acre of chicken manure? Is it broiler or laying hen? It's laying hen manure, and we run 2 tons to the acre. Are you running a script? Yes, I am running a script. Now, this field is pretty consistent, so it's really just the edges that are different. Most of the field's pretty flat rate. Keep up the good work. We love the YouTube. Thank you. How about doing the nitrogen to your soybeans? As your corn, I would say a half rate just to see if these are better yield. Yeah, I've played with putting on some Anhydrous through soybeans, like, you know, when I'm going by a field and I can just do it really easily, especially if I have road beans or something. It never pans out. It never does anything. It's not, that's not the way to put nitrogen on your beans. Next year, when we have soybeans in the irrigated field, we're going to put some nitrogen on through the rain, bet on it, and we'll see what kind of results we get from that. But early season nitrogen on beans is not a good idea. I have heard of some guys wide dropping some late season stuff and having some success, but yeah, I don't know. How much putting on? Right now we're doing 162 pounds, but we're down 10% from my script because we put chicken litter here last year. Native grass don't regrow unless you let it head and seed out. Yeah, that's right. It would have to go to seed in order for the clippings to regrow. Did they cut any GHX specialists in your area? Well, they cut basically all of the GHX specialists. No, not basically. They cut all of the GHX specialists. The guy that I work for was one of the top 2, 3, 5 specialists in the entire country. He does a phenomenal job, and he is They made him a very, very attractive offer to become a dealer, like I am. So he's going to go that route, but he still doesn't have a warehouse. So it sounds like we're going to keep working together a little bit, at least until he builds something of his own. That's kind of where we're at with that. So, yeah, the GHX specialists don't exist anymore. Would you try strip tilling? I would love to try strip tilling. I would love to, but it's just so hard to try. There's none of it in our immediate area. You got to go 30, 40, 50 miles away before you start seeing much of it. I think it would work. I think it would work awesome down to Berkey, but it's so hard to try it. If you worked on those leaks you had earlier and are still holding, I didn't hear your response. I did respond, Arthur. They are not leaking anymore. The leak is still fixed. My Vaseline trick worked. 20-inch rows and 12.4 tires. Do you think Autopath would work for side dressing and spray? If you match your planter widths, maybe. Autopath is pretty sweet. It works really well. I don't know. I don't think I could side dress on 20-inch rows. I don't know. Worth trying though. Sorry guys, sorry on the sound. Sorry. No sound, lost the sound. It's quick, someone sent him a text. My wife got it, so I'm sorry guys. This is what happens when I fall so far behind in the comments. I do see it if I'm looking at my screen, honey. Oh, it's back. All right, good. How long was that? Let's see. 8:38, it came back. First no sound comment was at 8:36. Oh, it was only 2 minutes. You guys are good. You're good. And it was 10 minutes ago, so I'm 10 minutes behind. That's what happens when I move my phone. Accidentally hit the mute button. Should I start playing with the filters button and all the rest of them on there too? Getting dark, I'm gonna have to turn my lights on soon. That is a narrow guess row there. I will say, I am not... Oh, plug it in. Phone's gonna die. Didn't even think about that. I'm not real thrilled with the implement guidance on my plants for this year. Apparently I had a measurement wrong somewhere because my grass rows are all off. Are you planning to build some type of shelter for the rain system out there in the field? It's been talked about, but we don't have any real plans, no. You can mute it again. Thanks, man. We have ideas. It's been talked about. I just don't know if it's actually going to happen. Familiar with any K sources to put through your irrigation system? Not really. I've heard of guys melting potash down and doing that. I really think that if you were going to do it, you want a, oh shoot, what's the right word? Potassium sulfate, or you could use KTS, yeah, potassium sulfate, potassium thiosulfate. There's different acetate, that's what I'm looking for. Potassium acetate is the easiest to get into the plants, and when you're doing it in season, you need it to get in there quickly, so I think that would probably be the correct source to use. I don't know if I can get any or where to find any on a reasonably cheap basis. That stuff tends to be really expensive. Trying to get you a demo for a strip tiller. Keep mentioning you in videos on other channels. Thanks, appreciate that. Strange. Dad tried some starter on his beans to use it up 1 year. Came up better, but didn't really see any yield increase on it. This was back in the 80s. We're 30-inch. Yeah. I have some starter that's specifically for beans that I used this year. We'll see if there's any yield difference. I don't know. They look good, but... Ended up with glasses and money years with the filters. Yeah. Why don't you use a GoPro? Because GoPros suck. Oh, they're awful. I hate the GoPros. I have 3 of them. I just hate to use them. One, the video quality on my phone is better than the video quality on my GoPros. 2, it's easier to hold my phone than it is to hold the GoPro. The audio quality is generally much better. There are times when it's not great, but generally the audio quality is much better. And it's too hard to get the files off of it. Like, I make a lot of content. I make more content than what is humanly possible. Necessary, practical, reasonable, good for growing YouTube channels. I make way too much content. The only way that is possible is because I do it all on my phone. I edit on my phone, I film on my phone. Like, the days when I use a drone or a GoPro and I have to move that footage and get it on my phone and edit it and everything, those days suck. It just takes so long. Like, I can't tell you how many times this spring I thought, oh, I should take my GoPros and stick them on the corn planter and get some cool footage and stuff. And I don't do it because I dread doing it because the editing process is so awful. And so, plus I was tired. Like, I was falling asleep most nights doing these videos. And it's too difficult for me to try and assemble all of that and get it all put together. So, yeah, my video quality suffers as far as content quality, but you get quantity. You get classic quantity over quality case. That's why. Does the poultry operation buy any corn directly from farmers? We have one near us that buys our corn. They're egg producers. Kind of. Like, I don't know that they do directly, but we can deliver to them through our local elevator that we deal with a lot. We've hauled some there. They're actually a little bit farther away than we like to go, and generally don't pay enough to get it there. So sometimes we take stuff there, but not a lot. Far away, the chicken farms. I've been thinking about it. It costs around $150 for 3 tons delivered. Is your cost similar to this? Yeah, similar for 3 tons. Actually, we're probably a little higher than that. I don't know exactly, maybe 40 to 50 miles from the litter place. Their price went up this year and they based it on mileage, which I was not very happy about, and I gave the guy a pretty hard time about. But yeah, we're looking at $65 a ton applied. Now that's spread too. That includes the cost of application. They haul it, they spread it. Yeah, you have to spread it yourself. No, that's applied. So we're similar then. Did Flowrite reach out to you about your issue with their fertilizer equipment? They did not. I have not heard from them. I have not reached out to them either, so they'd have to watch this in order to do anything. Just got on, went to expert opinion, plant my corn. It's about 2 inches tall and it's got a touch of frost. Will it survive? 100% it'll survive. No issues at all. The biggest problem you're going to have is if that frosted off leaf tissue kind of dies and it crimps together and the new tissue can't grow out of it. Walk away from it for 3 days, go back and look, and if everything looks normal, you're fine. The growing point on corn is below the soil surface until V5. So not 5 leaves, but 5 leaf collars. You'll actually be able to see probably 7 or 8 leaves started growing by the time you're at the V5 growth stage, and it's susceptible to a frost. So yeah, you're fine. All right, we're dark enough. I'm gonna hit the lights. You guys won't be able to tell anything, but I can. You ever considered using Cobra for white mold management? I've heard about it. I've never really considered using it or thought about it. I don't know. Seems a little risky to me. I know it works, or guys have talked about it, but no, I have not. I haven't heard any YouTubers say they like GoPros. That's because nobody does. I've heard good things about the Garmin make a camera. DJI makes a good one. If I ever buy another action cam, it'll probably be a DJI, although can't get anything with tariffs now, so it'll be a while. You ever thought about have a person edit your videos for you or not at all? It's not that I haven't thought about that. It's the timeliness factor, right? What would you guys say to my videos being a week behind? tell me. Because there is no way that I can upload a video at 11 o'clock at night and expect it to go live at 8 a.m. the next morning if somebody else is going to do the editing. That's not feasible. And one of my selling points has always been timeliness of content. Like the videos you watch happened the day before. I post it the next morning. It keeps me current, keeps me so I'm not backlogged and trying to get stuff edited. Helps me know what was going on when it was going on. And frankly, I have a hard time paying somebody to do stuff that I can do myself. Now, if there was a way to blow this up and, you know, quadruple the subscriber count and stuff by having some professional help, I would have to look at that. It would be worth it. But I don't know. I'm pretty happy with the way things are. I want it to grow, but I don't need it to grow. I make enough to make it worth my time. I'm content with it. So, yeah, we'll do what we got to do. Not hard to try strip till, just run a mold knife into bean stubble and plant right into it. I don't have a mold knife bar. How would I do that? And I don't want to. It is hard to try strip till because that's not strip till. What I want to do is I want to run a either a Kraus Gladiator or Kuhn Gladiator or an Underfirth Raptor. I want to run a shank 6 to 8 inches deep. I want to apply my MAP, my potash, maybe some AMS, and band it right underneath the row. I then want to plant right on top of that band. Oh, I think that would just be a beautiful system. But to try that, you either buy a $200,000 plus strip till bar, or you find somebody to rent one, and there aren't any near here to rent. And, you know, it just becomes a logistics issue and trying to get all that set up. I have a lot of other stuff going on when strip tilling needs to happen, so maybe someday I'll make it happen. I don't know. Can't be like the millennial farmer and complain about strip till not working if I can't make strip till not work, right? What do you find the best way to base your variable rate and hydros, I assume hybrids, off of? I go purely based on yield history. In John Deere Ops Center, you can select prior yield maps to combine into a composite map, basically, and assign yield zones to that. I find that to be the best way. I don't like soil types. I don't like topography. The only way topography works is if you're actually looking at whether the ground is concave or convex, and you know, the shape of it, and whether it holds water or sheds water. That's really what you need to look at. But you can have ground that holds water at a higher elevation than ground that sheds water, just depending on where you're at in your field. So you can't just look at a straight elevation map. That doesn't work. You have to have like LiDAR data or some highly accurate GPS data to be able to make those maps. And I know somebody that does it that way. I think that's a good way if you don't have yield history. But let's be honest, yield history trumps everything. Like, that will sort your field into better zones than any other way you can do it. Time to go watch Chet and Mike. There you go. Have fun. I think you do fine with videos. Thank you. Welkers like GoPros, but they probably get paid to like them. I have no idea. They do use GoPros. You're right up to date with videos. The amount of stuff you film. Yep. Huge sports fan. Reasonably. Especially hockey. Happy to let you know that Edmonton Oilers are leading the Dallas Stars 1-0 at the end of the first period. Thank you. Thank you for that update, Arthur. I am glad to hear that. Does Calgary still have a hockey team? Calgary used to be the Flames, right? Is that still a thing? You're in Alberta, but I assume that means you're closer to Edmonton than Alberta. My local Toledo Walleye minor league hockey team, or whatever the heck they call it, they're in the playoffs. I don't know if they're in the finals yet, or they're doing really well. So I didn't get to any walleye games this year, but they're fun to go to. Spray drone going to do all fields or something small until you get it all figured out. I'm hoping to spray all the corn with it. Now we'll see, but we'll see. Not in favor of delayed videos. I didn't think so. DJI Maverick or something worth considering. I don't know what the DJI Maverick is. DJI Osmo Action Cam or Osmo Pockets are the ones that I've kind of been looking at. If I wanted to stop using my film to phone, I would probably buy a DJI Osmo Pocket 3 or 4 or whatever the little handheld gimbal super nice thing is. I still have to transfer that and edit it and everything, and it's still a pain in the butt. But that's probably what I would look at. What the heck is their action cam? Is it Osmo? No, that doesn't sound right. DJI Action Cam. I don't remember what it's called. It's not a Maverick. I don't know what that one is. What the heck is it? It takes Larson's Farms to have someone edit their content 2 weeks or a month. Yeah, that's the thing, right? And he's big enough, and they can do that, no problem. But I don't want to be that far behind. Daily, semi-daily videos. Find it interesting to see how your timing lines up with others. Yeah, that's good. Calgary Flames. Yeah, see, I'm not near as far behind anymore either, because that was quick. You add any humic or fulvic acids, calcium, boron, or zinc? Heard good things with humic and fulvic. Yeah, we have done some of that. So in my corn starter, in my 2x2, I'm adding a gallon of that Ultramate zinc from the Andersons. That has humic acid in it, as well as some zinc. There's also some zinc in the season pass that I am using, along with some sulfur. Putting a lot of sulfur in my 2x2 as well in the form of ATS. Calcium, I'm not using any liquid calcium. I have been doing, lime where we need it for pH correction, and we spread that gypsum, that calcium sulfate, down to Berkey last fall that I am thinking is going to be a really good program. We'll keep an eye on that, but I do like it so far, so that's good. Haven't done anything with fulvic acids yet, although we are talking about trying some of that stuff here this summer with some of the Source Sound Ag products, so I gotta get my hand on a fulvic if I'm gonna try that. Basically what I've heard is that humic acids are better going on with liquid fertilizer. Fulvic acids are better for foliar feeding stuff, so it's a smaller particle, it gets into the plant better. But I also have some zinc that I'm planning on spraying some foliar. We're gonna see how that goes. I've heard some horror stories of tank mixing zinc with other things, so we got to do some jar testing, I think. But yeah, I am definitely playing with all of that stuff. I agree, like your daily videos that are up to date. Thank you. How do you make your scripts for your dry fertilizer in the fall? Yeah, I do not do those. So we have a crop consultant that does all of our soil testing for us. They come out and pull the samples, and they've already done basically everything for this fall. And they put together my variable rate scripts for potash, for MAP, for lime, and then they also make the blend recommendations for the wheat starter fertilizer based on soil test zones. And they made their soil test zones based off of my yield nets and yield data. So they don't perfectly match my planting zones, but they generally match my planting zones. All right. Please like and share. Thank you, Steven. We're probably going to wrap this up pretty soon. We've been on here for what, hour and a half now? I'm going to have to change tanks again pretty soon. We're about 45 acres into this field. A little over half done. I got to have something to film for you guys for tomorrow, so I like to binge watch your videos on my off days. There you go. I do that too with other guys. Glad you have some dry weather. Corn looks good. Love from Northern Ontario. Thank you. Yeah, weather's gotten better here. There's chances of rain tonight and tomorrow, but it doesn't look like we're going to get much. They've kind of backed off on that, and sounds like we're going to have an awesome stretch of weather after that. I would anticipate that we will be nearly done with Anhydrous a week from today. Depends on how that last corn does and how stuff is down to Berkey, but we're going to fly through this. We're going to use a lot in a hurry. DJI Osmo Action Cam, yeah. and Osmopocket. Yep, those were the ones I thought. I like the way you upload your videos. Thank you. Always up to date. One of the things I really appreciate about your channel. Yep. What does your boron management look like? Yeah, so boron. Lots of talk about boron in the industry over the last couple of years. I've been using boron in crop, or on the crop, corn crop specifically, for the last 5 or 6 years now. Before we were spraying a lot of fungicide, I was putting it in my 2x2 starter, which is dangerous. But our heavy soils and the fact that I was 2x2 and not in furrow, I felt confident enough to put a quart of 10% boron on with my starter. Did that for a while. Here's the thing though, boron is more critical to the plants in its reproductive stages. It needs it throughout its entire life, but you need more of it to the tail end of the plant's life cycle than the early parts. So, putting it on a leachable nutrient with your starter when you need it in August, not the best. Boron is also readily absorbed through the leaf tissue. We did some tissue testing with some of that last year and found out that after we foliar applied some boron, the boron levels spiked dramatically higher into the plant. So we know we're getting it into the plant. Okay? Now, that said, how are we applying it now? Well, as soon as I got to the point where I was spraying every acre of corn with a V5 fungicide, I said, I'm going to put my boron in then. Take it out of the starter because then I don't have to mess with it then. It's easier to do at V5. It's a little bit closer to when the plant actually needs it, and we can get some on some leaf tissue where it will go directly into that plant. Now, the stuff that hits the soil is still going to get down into the root zone and taken up that way. It's fine, right? So that, I still do some of that, but now we've gotten to doing a lot of tassel fungicide, and I'm to the point where most of my boron is going on at tassel time. I think that's as close to the reproductive stages as we're going to get. It's when the plant needs it, and I find that to be a really good timing and source of boron. So that's how I'm doing it. We have also started putting some boron onto wheat. We sprayed that with our flagleaf fungicide this year, put a quart of boron on, and might play with it on some soybeans. I may play with doing a double shot on some corn this year. I really think that the boron we've been putting on is adding to the grain quality that we are getting and higher test weights and just overall better quality grain at harvest time. So boron is important. That's what it looks like. What about sugar? Have you tried any sugar? Seen some guys using brand sugar products. Heard good things. All right, so I have used some sugar products in the past. None of them have stuck for me, and I don't know if it was because my testing wasn't good enough, if the results weren't good enough. I don't know, but I have used Octane from Ag Explorer. I have used Boost from QLF Agronomy. I have used Sweet and Easy from the Andersons, which I still have some of and we're going to use this year. So I've done a lot of different sugar products. I have yet to make a foliar program pay in general. That doesn't mean sugar exclusively. It just means like any of the stuff that we would be spraying on at low rates. It's just not been there for me. The one I kind of liked the best out of all of those was the Boost, because you used it at a gallon per acre and I felt like we were actually getting something out of it. That said, the Sweet and Easy from the Andersons is a really good product. I like that. I just have to make it pay. And I don't know what the best way to do it is. I know some guys are putting it in with starter, trying to feed those microbes right in that seed zone through their in-furrow. I think that's a valid approach. Some guys are spraying it foliar, trying to get that sugar directly into the plants, using it to boost sugar levels in the plant, which then get excreted through the roots to feed the microbes that way. Valid source or valid way to do it, but essentially you're trying to play with the carbon to nitrogen ratios when you're adding sugar in the soil. There's merit to it. I just haven't made it consistently work, so not something I do on everything. And again, I asked about the touch of frost with corn. Already put fertilizer application with the corn. Should I add anything? Already put fertilizer application to the corn. Should I add anything? Are you about to put fertilizer, or you already put fertilizer on? If there's anything else, there are some companies that have some products that claim to reduce some stress. One of them is, with Ag Explorer, AgX. I work with them a little bit, have in the past, and still do. They have a product called Value Pack. that's reasonably cheap that helps plants deal with stress. But you don't have any leaf tissue, living leaf tissue, so I don't know if that's the best thing to do right now for you. I don't know that any fertilizer is going to help you in this case. I don't know that it would. Honestly, I think I would just walk away from it for 3 or 4 days and come back and see what it looks like. After that, you can make a determination of whether or not you need to really try and push stuff or just kind of leave it be. That pole was right on the edge. It's nice. I know guys that have had hail damage in the past claim that fungicides can help mitigate some of that hail stress. But again, you don't have any leaf tissue, so I don't know that that's going to help you. All right, I got to keep an eye on my monitor here because our tank is getting low. Locked on now. Your soybean yield to corn yield ratio is way better than mine. Have you found any silver bullets to contribute to that? Meaning better soybean yields than corn yields? I don't know. Early planting, plant your beans first. That is the number one single biggest thing you can do to increase your soybean yield. Just plant them earlier. I don't know. I want my corn yields to be better too, though. So I spray R3 fungicide every year on my beans. You've got to have a good weed control program. You can't let weeds get away from you. Outside of that, plant good treated seed and plant them early. That's the best advice I can give on soybeans. I've done well, but remember, not everything is 89 bushel contest beans. But we did have really good beans last year. Forward your videos every day, thank you. I've been using Meristem 1252 in furrow, some good results, and it's sold free. Nice, that's good. You tried any Monty's products? I have not. I've seen the Monty stuff. I've never gotten into theirs. I don't know. I use the stuff from the companies and the people that I know and I work with. So started with Ag Explorer because I knew the salesman. I like their stuff. Just haven't been able to consistently make it pay yet. Anderson's reached out to me. They're a local company. You know, headquarters are in Maumee, right close to Toledo, where we're farming. I like working with them. They've been pretty good to me, so I'm stuck with that stuff. I'm not opposed to trying other stuff, but that's what I've got to work with right now. Tank is getting low. Yes, I know. I'm watching it. All right, guys. Any last questions? Get them in real quick here, but thanks for conversation. Thanks for joining along tonight. There it is. It's empty. Fortunately, I'm right next to one too, so we will see you guys in the morning. You can watch tomorrow's video. I am anticipating it raining tomorrow, so I don't know that we'll be back in the fields, but we'll see. We've got other stuff to do. 360 Rain's going to go live towards the end of the week, it looks like. A lot of good stuff here coming up. We'll go check out the bin project when we get a chance to get down there. And yeah, so thanks, thank you. If you were to upgrade bean planters, 15 or 20, Exactimerge with it. Most likely we're going to go to 20-inch rows when we do that. And I probably not Exactimerge. Depends on if we go 40 foot or 60 foot. Right now I'm leaning towards 60 and going just a regular Maximerge 5E planter, but we'll see. So no to BW Fusion. I have not used any of their stuff. What's better, Toledo Zoo or Columbus Zoo? I've never been to Columbus, but Toledo has one of the best zoos in the country. Toledo and Omaha, I hear, are two of the best. So we have a bunch of good ones around here. It's been cool. Have a fantastic evening. Thank you. When you get done, come to mine. Yeah. Leave the camera on for this tank in case we need to get you help. Yeah, I could do that. Have a great night. I'm good, though. Thank you. All right, guys. Thanks, everybody. we'll see you in the morning.